I'm Nicola Casale. I'm the vice president. I'm based in San Francisco for Yellow Goat, but as you may or may not know, we have offices worldwide, and a lot of our design team is located in our Australian office on the Gold Coast, and Kristina Albu is one of our lead designers. And I had the opportunity to interview her with some of the questions that CBT presented to us. And I really hope you enjoy the video. I will definitely take time after the video to answer any questions about Yellow Goat. For those that aren't familiar, we design custom lighting, screens, and suspended sculpture. So when Kristina speaks about the product, you have a sense of what we do, but I can get more into detail about our company and our process after the video. Hi everyone, I'm Nicola Casale, VP here at Yellow Goat Design, where we specialize in custom lighting and screen design. We're thrilled to be included in CBT's Women in Design event, which celebrates women accomplishments in leadership in architecture, design, and beyond. Today, I'm going to chat with Kristina Albu, one of Yellow Goat's product designers, who's actually based in our Australian office. Kristina, thank you so much for joining today from across the ocean.
Hi, Nicola. How are you? I'm so happy to see your beautiful face.
Oh,
And hello from Australia.
yes, we're
And thank
so
you for
excited.
CBT. Thank you for CBT for inviting me for this. It's such an honor.
Yes, we are very honored and excited to share your history and your experience with them because it's just so fascinating. So I'm going to get right into the questions. The first one being, how does your multicultural and international background influence your design approach?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I don't know if you know, I'm born in Bulgaria, which was part of Eastern Europe. And to be honest, for many years, I wasn't proud of my Eastern European heritage. Growing up, I felt like I had a disadvantage. However, living in Australia for more than 10 years now, I realized actually that's what makes me unique. And I see the benefits of, growing up in a different environment, how that helps me bring a color in this culture and in my work. Definitely now I appreciate it in a completely different way.
Yeah, what was it like growing up in Bulgaria? Can you explain a little bit about your childhood and when you were interested in design, and was there a certain experience that you had that led you on this path?
Yeah, probably for many people on the western side of the world, uh, that would be interesting to know. But we didn't know anything else. For us, I had a beautiful childhood, loving family. We lived in peace, relatively peace, and art was all around us. There were like symphonic or concerts any Christmas and Easter. There was an opera theater in my town. There was public art everywhere. So I knew I was drawn to art since very young age. I did art classes since I was 7, and yeah, I continue studying in a art high school where we did mostly art and industrial design and sculpture and fine art. Um, and later on, I continue my education in the National Art Academy.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
education in Bulgaria was free, and yeah, there was
cool.
art. There was a lot of funding in art,
Yeah.
luckily.
Do you feel that the architecture of the country and your culture still carry through to the products that you design now? Are there color palettes or materials or things that you think about from your past that you bring to the table now?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I bring things from my past. It's more like um, how my values evolve in time growing up. Uh, they're unique for every person. I'm not sure if there's someone else from the same heritage who have similar values, because my values been influenced throughout time, traveling, living in Australia now. But I think it definitely helps that I've been exposed to more cultures. You
Sure.
know, growing up in one culture, living now in another, I definitely see it as an advantage.
Yes, absolutely. And do you feel the designs that you create are more feminine in nature because you are a woman and you have these experiences? I know you're a mother as well. Does this come through in your designs, and do you feel that they do have a more feminine edge?
Uh, I don't know. I don't really want to think about myself as a woman designer. I believe naturally women are drawn to more aesthetic and creating beautiful things and nurturing beauty just because we're mothers, yeah, and we're taking care of the home naturally. So, but I don't see myself as a woman designer. I'm just a designer that happened to be a woman.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Well, um, I mean, that's a great answer. Do you feel when you design product that there are internal motivators you take into consideration or things that you want the end user to think about subconsciously when experiencing your designs? And is there a certain project that you can use it as example?
Oh, in our work, as you know, our projects are part of a part of interior space. They're not they're centerpiece, but they're not on its own. So they're often seen as a part of the space. So yeah, when we design project, we try to visualize them in that space, take on client's direction, and we want our pieces to be part of that space and play like a symphony, like be like the seamless part of that interior space.
Have there been a recent project or a design where there was an underlying meaning behind it that you were hoping a client would experience without even realizing it?
Uh, yeah, an interesting one probably would be the Samsung Galaxy.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, we wanted to create a fixture that feels like space and it's airy and it takes you to another galaxy. I think yeah, we succeeded that one
Yeah, that's
with the
great.
yeah with the client's directions and yeah few iterations. I
Yeah.
think the result was great.
And how do you feel working with other amazing women at Yellow Goat in the design field um, really advances the design? Do you feel that um, your collaboration with your male counterparts are different and than your women counterparts?
Yeah, again, I don't want to separate my colleagues or my friends, males and females. It's like it's the personal connection that matters mostly.
Sure.
Maybe naturally, I feel very comfortable with you, Nicola, and working with Monica. No, you happen to be a woman, so yeah, I appreciate personal contact
Yes.
most.
And I know you're very inspired by sailing and being on the water and nature. Do you feel that that really plays a role in when you're sitting down to sketch a new design? And do you draw from that experience?
Yeah, I, I don't see that. Probably it's not a direct inspiration, but definitely seeing so many amazing places, cultures, experiencing that freedom probably helped me grow up uh, as an artist and gave me the freedom to express myself and the confidence to trust my aesthetic.
Yeah. And when you um, sit down to design a new product for a client, whether they have a brief or not, and they are coming to us with, really no direction, what is your design process? Like, how do you get started? Do you sketch? Do you take an inspiration trip? What are some of the tools that you use to start creating this design and getting it to paper?
Yeah, I think seeing it from outside doesn't look very exciting. It's like staring in the blank wall. Often, it's not a light bulb that lights up and things happen straight away. Often takes like few scribbles, few papers in the bin, a little bit playing around in 3D in our software. It's different. Sometimes I will be just driving on the highway and just see something that, and the idea comes straight away. Sometimes it's just not that easy.
Yeah,
It's always different.
I understand. Um, I think it's always really fascinating to hear each individual's design process because it is so different for everyone. And um, when that idea sort of hits you, what are you doing and where are you at that given point? Um,
Yeah, I wish
it's,
somebody gives me an answer
yeah,
to that.
it comes when you
It's
least
always hard
expect
work
it.
for me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel, you know, being surrounded by design and growing up um, around the arts and culture, do you feel as a woman um, you you have an emotional advantage over your designs, and you can really sort of tap into um, a place that men might perhaps not be able to, given our experiences as women?
On the contrary, I feel like as a woman, I'm way more doubtful in my work, in myself. I always think that there's probably a better way and I'm not good enough or I should be doing better or it took me a long time to trust myself and be proud of my work. I always think like probably I should have dig deeper or work harder, always being really harsh on myself. I'm not sure if that's a personal characteristic or it's part of being a woman.
No, that's a great answer. When do you feel like you started to gain your confidence, and um, was there a certain experience or things that you did um, to give yourself more credit along the way that maybe perhaps another woman watching this would be able to use as well?
I think it came with experience and with time and seeing verification from, from other people. And I don't know, we kind of always look uh, for, for praise and for, not for praise, but mostly for, yeah, verification that what you're doing is right in others.
Well,
I
I
wish
honestly
I had
would
this.
argue that because you're so hard on yourself, the designs are that much better because you really look at it and then look at it again and really spend so much time perfecting it. So I think that that's actually a huge benefit to
I,
not
I
take it
think
on
that
first
maybe,
pass.
yeah, maybe that's also part of my cultural background and being Bulgarian. I think this is something I see a lot in my friends and my family as well. Like we don't praise easily. It's always you have to work hard.
Sure. So your background, you started in graphic design and then industrial design. Um, and then eventually over to product design. Along the way, is there a specific sector that you've enjoyed more than others, or certain skills that you gained in the different design sectors that really led you to Yellow Goat?
Yeah, I actually that's why I love Yellow Goat the most because it combines all my previous experience in graphic design, in advertising, in industrial design, and interior design. Like and even drawing and fine art. Like here, I can really combine everything, all the skills I've gained, or even renovating and carpentry that we did with my husband on our sailing boat. That helped me a lot, knowing how to work with my hands and have the
That's true.
technical skills. Yeah.
When you're sailing around the world or on an amazing vacation or design inspiration trip, do you take a sketchbook and are you constantly sketching new ideas as you see them in real time to bring back to the drawing board?
Yeah, I love sketching. I do often live drawing, and I continue to sketch. I don't have sketchbook always in my bag, but I try to continue doing often. It brings me pleasure. It's something that makes me who I am, and I love continue doing it.
Yeah.
It's like computer design. It's not everything. Yeah, I really try to value the hand sketching and crafting and doing things with my hands. I love doing things with my hands.
Do you feel the women at Yellow Goat um, work differently or come their process is different than some of our male counterparts when do do you all have like a similar way of working when it comes to product design, or can you think of a couple differences that set women apart versus the men in our company?
Uh, I think with individual designers, we all have our different approaches.
Mm-hmm.
I work really well with Conrad. He's our creative director, as well as some. Yeah, no, I think we get along, and everyone on with its own completely different way of approaching tasks,
Sure.
and yeah,
Can
we
you
work
think
well as a
of
team.
a design in our collection that is really feminine or something that you created that's really special and has a more feminine twist?
Yeah, I'm really proud actually of Juniper, our design in our latest collection.
Okay,
I
tell me
think you
that.
can tell that. I think you can tell that's a bit feminine. It's very round and soft and has the colors and it's a bit messy. Yeah, but in the same time, cute and down to earth.
I like that. How did that one come about? What what was the inspiration behind that design?
uh, Now in our latest collection, we focus on working with wood and natural materials. So I wanted to do something with the very thin plywood, which is easily bendable. I actually had a strip of paper in my desk because usually when I design, I use scissors and knives and
Mhm.
papers. So instead of pen and paper, I have like a knives and scissors. um, and I just had a strip of paper and I started playing with it. And I'm like, oh, that would be amazing if you just bend this strip of plywood just like this paper and create something messy, but in an organized round shape.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel like that has a lot of deeper meaning behind it now
Now
that
when
you
I say
explained
it,
it. Yeah, I love that. Um, and of course, with COVID and everything that our industry has faced this year, um, a lot of our clients are asking for um, dividers and screens and things to socially distance us safely while enjoying interior spaces. What is the importance of the aesthetic and visual aspect of these dividers? And can you speak a little bit about the design behind some of the pieces that we have in our collection?
yeah, we actually wanted to, as a response to COVID, we wanted to create a design collection that doesn't separate people, doesn't divide them, but connects them. That's why we called it Connect,
Mhm.
because it's so important. We live in a society, and We don't have to lose our personal human contact with each other, even if we're physically distancing for our health benefit. We don't have to lose the connection and with one-on-one. So yeah, we designed a bubble screen, which actually was nominated as a best of the year design in Interior Design magazine, which was yeah, a divider that it's designed to connect two people sitting across the table. And in every design, we try to approach it with our yellow goats aesthetic, and we just put our pink glasses and see the world as a happy place instead of building walls and um, polycarbonate screens.
Yeah.
We don't want to create bulletproof screens.
Yes,
We just
I
want
do
to.
love that. I think that's a really great way to describe Yellow Goat in that we do look through rose-colored glasses, and we try to bring a lot of fun and life into design, and that experiential quality to our product. So um, that's a fun way to describe it. I appreciate that. And I guess to wrap this up, do you feel, what do you hope for women in our industry, um, and what advice would you give to succeed in the design world as a woman?
Yeah, I hope we don't have to have any more this conversation about women in design, and we're just gonna be yeah, with
Yeah.
an equal pay, with equal rights and advantages. Uh, yeah, it's not easy because we have so many more things to juggle with family, children, and we often put them at the back, wanting to be like successful professionals, successful designers. I feel like we often put our family and children at the back burner, which I don't think is the right thing. And we feel guilty about it, maybe talking about it in my personal experience.
Sure.
Um, I hope we'll have mm, we don't have to sacrifice one thing for another
Yeah.
in ideal world.
Yes, I would agree, and I'm sure everyone watching feels the exact same way, but that's wonderful. Well, thank you, Kristina, for sharing a little bit about your process and your history. It's so fascinating, and you have so many experiences to draw from, and I think that really shines through to your designs, and that's why they're so strong. So
Oh, thank you,
we
Nicola.
really appreciate it. You're welcome. And to the CBT team, again, thank you so much for including us in this amazing segment. We feel so honored to be a part of this amazing design event. So feel free to email us with any questions or follow-ups for Kristina. I'm sure she would be thrilled to um, chat further. So thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, Nicola, and thank you, CVT, for inviting me. Such an
Yeah,
honor.
thank you.
Thank you. That was amazing. I have, sorry, can everybody hear me? I just,
Yep.
yes. So Nicola, thank you so much for taking this interview. And I personally feel like a lot of important points were touched. And I know some other presenters touched on the same similar points. I can clear the space now for people to ask Nicola some questions if anybody has, or they can just, guys, you can feel free to just raise your hand and I will point to you. In the meantime, I wonder if you can elaborate a little bit about the process of working with Yellow Goat. I know it was also touched a little bit. So you have a client, you design for a specific space, for a specific need. Are all your collections born as an answer to a commission, or do you produce items that are just part of your standing list and are like prêt à manger for you?
That's a great question. So both actually. We do have an in-house collection, as Kristina alluded to, that we design. We typically aim to drop 2 collections a year, a fall and spring collection, which is solely based on a theme. We usually, pre-COVID, took a design inspiration trip, came up with the concept for that collection, and then we usually design anywhere from 5 to 6 pieces, a range of lighting and screens and suspended sculpture. Other times, designers will come to us with this amazing project and need us to develop something entirely unique for their space. Their client doesn't want something from the website or that exists. They really want something extremely specific to their story and their brand. And then it is commission based, and we will create a concept for them based on their design intent. So it's really great that we get to experience both. You know, we do have in-house designs that we can choose from for clients. Sometimes something that already exists is perfect for the space, and then other times we are honored to create something really fabulous and new, unique, and nothing that's been seen before. And those tend to be so valuable and make such impact on the space because they truly have never been seen or built before. So the process, based on what the client needs, the process follows. We always say, bring us on from the beginning, especially if it's going to be a commissioned piece. Our designs tend to be the focal, as Kristina said, the symphony that kind of ties everything together, and really knowing from the beginning what the client is looking for, and the other elements of the space really help us to create a strong design that connects everything else that's happening. And other times we're brought in at the last minute. They need something quickly, something happened, and we can deliver, and that's great too. But I always recommend the earlier the better.
Absolutely. And you obviously would do coordination with the other building systems and will provide complete follow-up and help with, from, strategizing about and then, follow up to installation, which is obviously, it's a little bit harder now with traveling. Let's go to Vicky.
Okay.
Hi, Nicola. So I want to start with a couple of things. Well, first, thanking you for doing this and really preparing by doing a pre-interview to our interview. That's an incredible commitment on your part to our series. So I really appreciate that. And I want to commend you guys on 2 things. One is the pivoting that you guys did for COVID. Honestly, like, you were the first company that we saw start to produce permanent, beautiful solutions that weren't pharmacy solutions, as I say. And we've actually put some of your pieces into our presentations when we talk to clients about, you could make it look like a pharmacy, or you could make it look like a beautiful, permanent, purposeful solution. So we really thank you for that. I don't know how that happened, but we are relying on it.
Great.
And also just that you guys produce such sculptural solutions that we don't find from a lot of lighting manufacturers. So we go to you for that, not just for the bespoke stuff, but like just through your catalog. Like, it's just so sculptural and beautiful. So how do you keep that artistic quality as primal in your company and still be able to be, off the shelf, I would say, in quotes, off the shelf lighting company? How do you do that?
That's a great question. I think it's multi-tiered for sure. We are blessed with absolutely incredible designers. We, in my opinion, have the best product designers. Everyone comes from such unique backgrounds. As Kristina has amazing experience, but everyone else on our team has the same thing. And I think the process of our design team having to work on the fabrication floor for 6 months prior to being elevated to a design position is really important, to be able to really understand the materials and work with them and create these designs. We also always usually take a design inspiration trip, which is really important for team building, but also for really getting to the juices flowing. I think these trips get us out of our bubble and expose our team to cultures and cities and amazing events and trade shows and all types of things that really allow us to come back to the drawing board and create these super, super unique pieces. Jersey Lesko, our founder, who founded Yellow Goat about 20 years ago, he created this process, which the designer, it's like a love-hate relationship. They have a round table meeting every Monday, and every Monday the designers have to come to the table with a new design. It doesn't have to be lighting, but it has to be something. And it is the constant pressure of creating something new, and it can get torn apart and ditched, but at least you're always constantly thinking ahead. And I think these meetings, although they're a bit intimidating, especially for younger staffers, they really push the designers to continue to think outside the box. And I think that these meetings have become integral to keeping our design alive and not getting stagnant.
If there's not another question, I was going to ask as follow-up is like, what
Sure.
can you give us an example of those? What are those trips? Like, what do you do on those inspiration trips?
That's a great question. So the last one we went on was to Milan for the Salone show. I myself and a couple other teammates from the US flew in from our locations, and then Conrad and a couple of the other designers from our Australian office flew in as well. So we all met at Salone. The first day we attended the trade show together, and we didn't just focus on the lighting side of Salone. We really looked at furnishings and fabrics, and we sort of took all of it in. We did it for the first full day, and then the second day we actually just walked around the city and saw some typical tourism monuments, but then we tried to pick some really interesting restaurants. We also try to identify some really cool lighting or sculptural pieces in the city to go see it and talk about it, what material is being used, see how things look in a space. So we try to find a couple unique things to go touch on. And then the third day, we actually went to Lake Como, which is very exciting. It was a day trip, but again, just exposing ourselves to that culture and nature because it's built on this gorgeous lake. So we try to move around a lot, and we didn't spend the whole time at Salone because although the show is amazing, the trade show isn't everything. There's so much more to see. So I think it's a mix of tourism, but also the show, and then just trying to find really unique pieces in the city that we can go talk about as a team.
Very interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That was a great question.
So, as a segue and touching on the last part of the current world situation, although getting better, in the last year or so, how are you able to maintain this flow and the meeting and the traveling and the inspiration sources and being out in the open? Because I know you have people everywhere that are now. Are you open and closed now? How does that work?
Well, unfortunately, we're all working from home now. The Australian design team has been able to get together, and they socially distance in the office. Our US team has been home, so we haven't been able to travel. We haven't been able to take trips or design trips. Nobody in the company has taken a design trip this whole year. So it has been difficult I know for everybody, we're all chomping at the bit to be able to experience things and keep it fresh. But I think the beauty of our team is that they have sketchbooks, and they're still able to pull from experiences that they've had with the Connect collection and how that came about. It was in a direct response to COVID. We thought to ourselves, nobody's creating anything that's good looking in these spaces. Who the heck wants a plastic clear screen? It's temporary, but it's not beautiful. And here at Yellow Goat, we're all about beauty and creating experiences in a space. So our team got together. It was actually off. It wasn't, happening at our typical spring fall collection drop. It was kind of in between. And we got together as a team, and we said, let's see if we can challenge ourselves to create 5 or 6 pieces that are actually able to be used, and have the functionality, but also like the aesthetic part. And our clients instantly started coming to us saying, thank you for creating something that's good looking. Of course, I think the downside is it is more expensive. So our clients, the developers, the owners, they have to be willing to invest in long-term solutions, which not everybody is, and that's okay too. But the other thing that we did with that collection is we worked directly with Marriott and their design team, and they asked us to create even more exclusive pieces to the Marriott brand that met their standards. So we had the opportunity to put together this catalog specifically for them, for their different spaces, whether it was spa or restaurant or whatever it was in a hotel, the lobbies, high touch point areas. And we created even more product specifically suited to the Marriott brand when they were taking a COVID initiative too. So that was a really cool experience for us that we were able to work with them directly.
That's interesting. So from that a little bit, do you have an ideal client? Who is your perfect client in your mind?
That is a great question. Our perfect client, and we do have perfect clients. I will say we have been blessed to work with some perfect clients. I think one that we recently worked with that I won't name, but that perfect client was amazing because they were open to Yellow Goat taking like the reins and trusted our process. And they had a great budget, of course. With every great client comes a great budget with the ability to meet their intent, and it was a fair budget to work with. So I think the perfect client has a budget that is realistic, and I also think that they trust the process and they see our portfolio and they know that we can create this amazing thing for them, but they kind of let go of control a bit and let us do our thing. So I think that's really important, but also, on the flip side, to provide feedback and push us, to give them what they want. But I also think communication is key too in the beginning, really understanding what they want and what they're trying to achieve from this piece. That's really important for us to understand. And we ask a lot of questions, to get to the bottom of that. So our first or second proposal really hits the mark, but I think it's multifaceted. But I always think reasonable expectation once it comes to budget and timeline, and also letting go of control and letting the process unfold a bit.
So you find yourself pushing their boundaries a little bit.
Yes.
And with doing it with people who are comfortable with you pushing their boundaries. So you're not answering to, something that already existed before. You're creating a new experience. Mm-hmm. And somebody who lets you do that.
Yeah, I think that's important because especially if it's a client that is looking for a commission piece and they want something unique, they have to, trust our designers that we're going to give them that. I think too much control will box the designers in, and then if there's too many parameters, I think it doesn't allow for the creative flow. And of course, we know that there are parameters with design and with budget and with timeline, but I think the clients that come and like they want this exact thing, or I think that that's hard because most of the time it already exists in the world, and you don't want to recreate something that already exists. And especially here at Yellow Goat, we're very, very, very sensitive to designs that have been done over and over, or that already exist, and somebody just wants to tweak it because they want it to be less expensive. Like that is not what we're here for, and I think sometimes we really have to push back and explain why we can't deliver something that is an iteration of something else. It's really to protect the original manufacturer too. We are members of Be Original, which is an organization that celebrates authentic and original design. It's really important to us. So as much as we don't want to be knocked off, we don't want to do that to anybody else. And we're very sensitive to clients that sort of want something that already exists and just you know, a different finish or whatnot.
This is extremely important initiative. I feel like Dave Ferris, do you want to go on camera and ask a question, or do you want me to read that?
Sure. You know, just wanted to ask the question. So beautiful work. You know, at the same time, I'm kind of paging through the website, and gosh, everything is really so. The screens and the lighting, et cetera, it's so sculptural and so pretty, and clearly to make it all work, in addition to the creativity, there's some really sophisticated engineering that goes along with it as well. And I guess I'm just wondering, from your perspective, for your company, you know, how do you keep that that freshness and that level of sophistication in terms of, you know, as you're searching for new staff, do you have certain sources that you look towards to make sure that you're kind of riding the top of the wave versus following?
That's a great question. Yes, I think in terms of the designers, we have a very, you know, strict process in terms of, like I had mentioned earlier, you know, having to work on the fabrication floor, having to really be, you have to earn being elevated to be a designer at Yellow Goat. It's a huge honor. We mentor a lot of students in our Australian design office that come through and they intern and they learn from us. And it's really important that the designers that are elevated are ready. This is a high pressure job and a lot is on the line, and much is expected of us in terms of being at the forefront of innovation. So we have to make sure they're ready. So it's definitely a very driven process. I think on the fabrication side, it's equally difficult to hire in the fabrication studio because these are craftsmen that are building things that have literally never been built before. Yes, we have shop drawings, but sometimes there is an element of artistic capability that you have to put this whole thing together. So our fabrication studio really comes from a mix of different backgrounds, whether it's construction, we have mill workers, tile, you know, layer, and whatever it is. A lot of our craftsmen come from different industry sectors as well, because it master welders. So, you know, we have different workshops on the floor that focus on the different fabrication techniques, and we have to hire specialties because this isn't a straightforward design process. It really is kind of pulling from lots of different industry types. And we do definitely invest in extremely high quality equipment. We have a laser that is absolutely incredible. It can cut through anything, but it's so precise. And you have to literally hire someone to be able to operate this laser. And that's all he does all day because it's so intrinsic and complicated. And it's kind of amazing the different technicalities you need to make this all go down. So that's I hope that answered your question.
Oh yeah, it does. It really shows that you bring together some really super talented people to make this all happen. It's really beautiful work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a great question.
Hey, Michelle, did you wanted to ask something?
Sorry, no, I just have my camera on, but
Hi.
hi, I'll say hello. I'll pretend like it's an actual lunch meeting kind of thing.
Yeah, I like it. That's
Like
great.
that.
Anyway, sorry.
No, perfect. Just wanted to make sure that everybody who wants a voice can get it. We're almost at the end, but almost as a summation, beyond screens, beyond lighting fixture, because, you know, where we first go is the light fixtures, and then we discover materials and screens. How far is your outreach into the design world as far as what you are providing, would you say?
Yeah, it's pretty far. I mean, we have to work with so many different parties to make this come together. I think part of the difficulty is the suppliers and coming, you know, a lot of our fabrication executives attend all different kinds of trade shows overseas and abroad that introduce new technology and new materials. And I think a huge part of this is your relationships with your suppliers and making sure that they can deliver on our lead time. And the quality is really important. You know, there's a lot of materials out there that look great, but in person, you know, they photograph great, but in person, they're not going to hold up. So I think the outreach in terms of suppliers and industry initiatives and clients, but also internal with staffing. I think it takes a lot to bring this all together and create such an amazing piece, but we're very lucky in that we have the industry outreach that we do and the relationships that are so strong that really support us along the way.
Thank you. So we are almost at the end of our time. I would like to take this opportunity again to thank Nicola, thank Kat, and Kristina, of course. I know Nicola graciously agreed that if we have any follow-up questions or anything that has to do with this, conversation after a staff listens to our recording, we'll be able to send any questions we have back, and they will be answered. And thank you again for taking this time to be with us and to
we were
shine
so
a light of this company.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to you, Anna, for coordinating all of this, and to everybody that joined. That is so wonderful. I know everyone is so time strapped, so it means a lot to us that you took this hour to learn about our company and include us in this event. I hope it was inspiring, and we're always here to answer questions. And just thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We're always thinking of us. CBT is such a wonderful client of ours, and we are so grateful to have the opportunity to collaborate. It's always a pleasure, and you guys are the reason why we're here. So thank you so much.